We go back 2,500 years to God's chosen people after the destruction of the temple in the 6th century, taken to Babylonia. This is a powerful psalm that relates to our day and relates to what we can do with the God that we're praying for, as well as the God that they were praying to. And here we have this psalm. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and there we wept when we remembered Zion. On the willows there we hung up our harps, for there our captors asked us for songs, and our tormentors asked for mirth, saying, "Sing us one of the songs of Zion." How could we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand wither. Let my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth if I do not remember you, if I do not set Jerusalem above my highest joy. Remember, O Lord, against the Edomites, the day of Jerusalem's fall, how they said, tear it down, down to its foundations. O daughter Babylon, you devastator, happy shall they be who pay you back what you have done to us. Happy shall they be who take your little ones and dash them against the rock. The word of God for the people of God. Well, that psalm was going along pretty well until they got to the last verse. What do we do with this? Just remember that all of the psalms are prayer. That though they were transported to a foreign land, they were not transported away from their God. And so they prayed. I'm sure all of us have been angry sometimes to say, I'm so angry I could punch your lights out. I'm so angry that I might. I don't do it. And the Israelites are really not going to do it. It's in their anger, it's in their desperation, it's in their torment, but it's still prayer. And God, who is the avenger, as we know from the book of Deuteronomy, I am the one to take vengeance, nobody else. So they left it up to God. Whatever God's going to do, he'll do it as long as we remember. We're in a new season called Kingdomtide. There it is. You see it there in the foyer in the narthex each Sunday. The bottom left is this first Sunday. 1938, the then Federal Council of Churches decided they wanted to separate the long season of Pentecost after into two. But they made it variable, the last Sunday in August. Yeah, it doesn't always work if you want to have 13 weeks before Advent. So some wakeful nights years ago when I was trying to work out the system of the Bible through the seasons, you say, pardon me, the Sunday nearest, August 31st. Then always you'll have 13 nice steps to Advent. So we're in the final season. You can show them next to just a distinguishing mark of it. That's the season. And the little words under there are what I call alphabites. They're simply alphabetical object meditations that run through from nose today to the last one, zoom lens. Thank you. Okay, next slide. This is by Hermógenes Calderón, a 19th century artist that tries to depict what it must have been like for the people in Babylon. You and I are witnessing, maybe not quite firsthand, but in our world, the desperation of the people in Ukraine, Syria, so many places, Palestine, so many places where they feel bereft of their homeland. But we go to Hebrews. We do not have a kingdom that's from here. We have a kingdom that is forever. The kingdom that never stops. I'm going to share with you a story by Leo Tolstoy entitled 3 Questions. Leo Tolstoy was a tremendous conversion, not so much to Christianity as the religion, as to Christ, to Jesus. He had a powerful transforming experience, and he wrote a book called The Kingdom is Within You. This is what I'd like to share with you. To begin the story of the 3 questions. What is the best time to do each thing? Who are the most important people to work with? Finally, what is the most important thing to do at all times? So the story goes that this king decided to gather all the people together and get advice on it. He issued a decree announcing whoever could answer the questions would receive a great reward. Many who read the decree made their way to the palace at once, each person with a different answer in reply to the first question. One said, make a thorough time schedule, consecrating every hour, day, month, and year for certain tasks, and then follow the schedule to the letter. And then somebody else said, remain attentive to everything in order to know what to do at what time. Attention. Someone else insisted that by himself, the emperor could never hope to do all this, so get a committee, get a group of people, set up a council of the wise, and then to act according to their advice. Some of them once said that certain matters required immediate decision, could not wait for consultation. But if he wanted to know in advance, he should consult magicians and soothsayers. So one person said that the emperor needed to place all his trust in administrators, urgent reliance on priests and monks, or others recommended physicians, etc., etc. He didn't like all the answers. Well, he decided to go up to this hermit who was known for his holiness and his wisdom. So he decided to visit the hermit who lived up on a great mountain and was said to be an enlightened man. The emperor, or the king, wished to find the hermit to ask him the 3 questions. Though he knew the hermit never left the mountains and was known to receive only the poor, refusing to have anything to do with persons of wealth or power. So the emperor disguised himself as a simple peasant and ordered his attendants to wait for him at the foot of the mountain while he climbed the slope alone to seek the hermit. Reaching the holy man's dwelling place, the emperor found the hermit digging in a garden in front of his hut. When the hermit saw the stranger, he nodded his head in greeting and continued to dig. The labor was obviously very hard on him. He was an old man, and each time he thrust his blade into the ground to turn the earth, he heaved heavily. The emperor approached him and said, I have come here to ask your help with 3 questions. When is the best time to do each thing? Who are the most important people to work with? What is the most important thing to do at all times? The hermit listened attentively, but only patted the emperor on the shoulder and continued digging. The emperor said, you must be tired. Here, let me give you a hand with all of that. The hermit thanked him, handed the emperor a spade, and then sat down on the ground to rest. After he had done 2 rows, the emperor stopped and turned to the hermit and repeated three questions. The hermit still did not answer, but instead stood up and pointed to the spade and said, "Why don't you rest now? I can take over again." But the emperor continued to dig. 1 hour passed, then 2. Finally, the sun began to set behind the mountain. The emperor put the spade down and said to the hermit, "I came here to ask if you could answer my 3 questions. But if you can't give me any answer, please let me know so that I can get on my way home." The hermit lifted his head and asked the emperor, "Do you hear someone running over there?" The emperor turned his head. They both saw a man with a long white beard emerge from the woods. He ran wildly, pressing the hands against a bloody wound in his stomach. The man ran toward the emperor before falling unconscious to the ground, where he lay groaning. Opening the man's clothing, the emperor and hermit saw that the man had received a deep gash. The emperor cleaned the wound thoroughly and then used his own shirt to bandage it. But the blood completely soaked it within minutes. He rinsed the shirt out and bandaged the wound a second time and continued to do so until the flow of blood had stopped. At last, the wounded man regained consciousness and asked for a drink of water. The emperor ran down to the stream and brought back a jug of fresh water. Meanwhile, the sun had disappeared, and the night air had begun to turn cold. The hermit gave the emperor a hand in carrying the man into the hut, where they laid him down on the hermit's bed. The man closed his eyes and lay quietly. The emperor was worn out from a long day of climbing the mountain, digging the garden. Leaning against the doorway, he fell asleep. When he rose, the sun had already risen over the mountain. For a moment, he forgot where he was and what he had come here for. He looked over the bed and saw the wounded man also looking around him in confusion. When he saw the emperor, he stared at him intently and then said in a faint whisper, "Please forgive me." "What have I done that I should forgive you?" the emperor asked. "You do not know me, Your Majesty, but I know you. I was your sworn enemy, and I had vowed to take vengeance on you. For during the last war, you killed my brother and seized my property. When I learned that you were coming alone to the mountain to meet the hermit, I resolved to surprise you and on your way back and kill you. But after waiting a long time, there was still no sign of you. And so I left my ambush in order to seek you out. But instead of finding you, I came across your attendants who recognized me, gave me this wound. Luckily, I escaped and ran here. If I hadn't met you, I would surely be dead by now. I had intended to kill you, but instead, you saved my life. I am ashamed and grateful beyond words. If I live, I vow to be your servant for the rest of my life. And I will bid my children and grandchildren to do the same. Please grant me your forgiveness." The emperor was overjoyed to see that he was so easily reconciled with a former enemy. He not only forgave the man, but promised to return all the man's property and to send his own physician and servants to wait on the man until he was completely healed. After ordering his attendants to take the man home, the emperor returned to see the hermit. Before returning to the palace, the emperor wanted to repeat his 3 questions one last time. He found the hermit sowing seeds in the earth they had dug the day before. The hermit stood up and looked at the emperor. "But your questions have already been answered." "How's that?" the emperor asked. puzzle. Yesterday, if you had not taken pity on my age and given me a hand with digging these beds, you would have been attacked by that man on your way home. Then you would have deeply regretted not staying with me. Therefore, the most important time was the time you were digging in the beds. The most important person was myself. And the most important pursuit was to help me. Later, when the wounded man ran up here, the most important time was the time you spent dressing his wound. For if you had not cared for him, he would have died, and you would have lost the chance to be reconciled with him. Likewise, he was the most important person, and the most important pursuit was taking care of his wound. Remember that there is only one important time, and that is now. The present moment is the only time over which we have dominion. The most important person is always the person you are with, who's right before you. For who knows if you would have dealings with any other person in the future. The most important pursuit is making the person standing at your side happy. For that alone is the pursuit of life. Tolstoy's story is like a word out of Scripture. We talk about all the different ways in which we can plan ahead, strategize for the growth of the church. All of these intellectual kinds of things that fail to look at the immediate now. The people that I'm seeing right now are the most important persons in my life. And so it is with each of you. As we step into the future in this Kingdomtide, is to know that I'm calling this sermon the raining season. It sounds a little bit like the rainy season, doesn't it? It's the raining season. It's the season in which we place a special focus. After all the other seasons of development of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, it's now God's reign. But God is in charge. And God is here and now. Jesus is here and now. The presence of Jesus in your life is present to you at every single moment. And Jesus, in one sense, is the most important person you're with at each moment. But he turns your attention to the people that you are actually with, never minimizing the moment-by-moment meeting of people, whether it's a gentle smile, whether it's a conversation, whatever it is, that's the most important time. That's the most important person you're with. And the pursuit of that is the most important thing. Well, I've noticed as I preach here, I can catch gentle smiles from people, a small smile, a slight smile. Something that you can do when you're in a mood in which you seem to have a frown on your face or you're irritated or something else. Just become aware of that now, whenever that happens. And then just put a slight smile on your face. Just do it. Press those cheeks aside a little bit. And watch what happens to you when you do that. We can introduce into our emotional life our bodies. Tell our bodies a little bit what to do. When it's important to stop. When it's important to meditate. When it's important to rest. Because you're very important. In order for you to be the most important person for the next person, you've got to be the most important person to yourself in a way. Because you are the instrument that Jesus uses. I love the end of the prayer that says, look up, let them look up and see no longer me, but only Jesus. The risen Christ who touches the cosmos and all that's being revealed in the Webb telescope and our marvelous intrusions, if you will. peeking into the mysteries of the universe. All of these are to say that the risen Jesus, the cosmic Christ, is the one who is in charge and is ever with you, giving you the sense of the kingdom within, so that there is no nation that is the kingdom, only the reign of God within your heart. As we step into this here and now, letting go of the previous history of this past year, and step into the final quarter of the church year, let's do so with gentleness, with peace, with a slight smile on your face, because God is inviting you to step in to this new season, the reigning season.